In the level 4 certificate in education and training, the minimum core is the term used for functional skills. And although as a trainer we need to help develop our learners' functional skills, the focus within the level 4 certificate in education and training is about our own skills in literacy, language, numeracy, and ICT. So the minimum core may seem repetitive, however, you need to demonstrate your skills in the 4 mandatory units of the level 4 certificate in education and training, and quite often these will overlap in each unit. So it's advantageous to find unique examples for each of planning, delivering, training, and assessing your learners, and using resources. The purpose of the minimum core is that you need to have basic skills to be able to develop your learners. The key aims of the minimum core in the level 4 certificate education and training is to establish the expected minimum of the level 2 in literacy, language, numeracy, and ICT for teachers. You don't need to hold qualification in these, but you must be at the standard. If you're anything like me and didn't apply yourself at school, this may be reflected in your grades, but as we get older and more mature, we recognize the importance in these subjects. If you don't already hold the level 2 in the minimum core elements, you can take exam-only routes to qualifications, but it's not needed to get to your level 4 certificate in education and training. By improving our learners' functional skills, we are preparing them better for employment. There's not one job out there that does not depend on literacy, language, numeracy, and ICT. And if you can, think of one, I would love to hear it. By developing these skills, it will enable you to teach your subject better. So when I'm teaching the level 4 certificate in education and training, my literary skills affect my ability to create handouts and materials which are free from errors and demonstrate professionalism. Language skills to communicate with my learners. Numeracy skills to calculate timings in my session plans and calculate the costs of resources. And ICT skills to write blogs, create handouts, send emails, and create e-learning materials. We use these skills in the level 4 certificate in education and training far more than we know. So how do we demonstrate these skills? Literacy is about reading, writing, spelling, grammar, punctuation, and syntax. And syntax is the way that you structure your sentences. Language skills can be demonstrated within speaking, listening, discussion, and role plays and interviews. Numeracy is about calculations, interpretations, evaluations, measurements, while ICT is anything to do with technology, such as online apps, e-learning, Microsoft Office programs, phones, interactive whiteboards, and anything that is technology. You need to demonstrate each of these skills during the planning, delivering, and assessing stages within your resources. So to start with planning, so we'll create resources for your lesson plans. So you create your lesson plans and schemes of work. So this is probably the first thing you look to do. So you need to do this for the level 4 certificate in education and training, and it's part of the assessment process. You will determine timings of your activities. You will determine how many lessons your program will take, and you may create individual learning plans, complete inductions with your learners, give clear instructions on joining the course, and you are best advised to use ICT to create your session plans so that you can make adjustments to your programs when you need to. This is planning covered. When delivering training, we'll complete paperwork and course admin. We review work. We will write on the whiteboard. We will discuss tasks and activities that we'll want our learners to do. We will subconsciously determine how long we have left in our sessions and to ensure that we remain on course to complete all activities. When putting individuals into groups, we are likely going to use maths to split them into equal groups to determine how long we have activities will take. Most of us will use PowerPoints to deliver sessions or incorporate phones into sessions. I use my phone for a calculator, and yes, I am cheating, and I use it as a timer as well. And when assessing, I'll read the qualifications and requirements, and we'll check that my learners' literacy skills and give them developmental feedback. I will time my assessments to ensure that we complete them within the allocated time frame. I may also calculate learner scores and pass rates and funding rates. Before I introduce technology to calculate literacy and numeracy assessments, I actually used to count the scores to determine the levels of support our learners needed. So I'm likely to track learners' progress in ICT systems. Potentially, I may use paperwork to start with, but I'll definitely need to upload them on the computer. And lastly, let's look at your resources. So literacy is easy. So we'll check our handouts or our PowerPoints to check for any sort of spelling errors. I do recommend that you get someone to proofread, but the requirements are that you do this yourself. Language skills can include discussing with learners their individual needs and then creating resources based on those results. Numeracy is simple. It might take me an hour to create a certain resource. You might need to calculate your wage and how much it will cost the business for you to create that. Now look at creating resources for an entire qualification like level 4 certificate in education training. It's going to add up. You may even calculate how many learners you have and how many handouts you need to print. ICT again is simple and straightforward, as you can create resources using ICT, PowerPoints, handouts, posters, can easily be distributed via email or uploaded to your e-learning platform.